Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your natal moon in conjunction with Neptune. It's kind of like having the moon in Pisces because Neptune rules Pisces. So a conjunction is when two planets are close enough in degrees that they form a connection, and whatever the two planets are, when they come together, they create an even stronger version of whatever it is that each of these planets represents. So what you do is you look at each planet separately and see what does it represent, and then you can kind of interpret like how it's going to be when it comes together. So for instance, the moon is your emotional nature. The moon is how you express emotions, as well as how, your attitude about emotions, how you receive emotions from other people, your need for security, and things like that. Your Neptune is not a personal planet, so it's a generational planet. So we don't really concern ourselves too much with the sign that Neptune is in. But the influence of Neptune can be felt with aspects for sure in a personal way. So with a conjunction, it means that it's close enough to the moon to kind of join forces with it, and also the moon is intuitive, and so is Neptune. So it can be somebody who is very psychically sensitive, and also somebody who's compassionate, because Neptune is about this sense of the collective on a soul level, I would say, because it rules the 12th house, which is, the 11th house with Aquarius, Uranus, and Saturn, but we won't talk about that, is about the collective on a material level as the human race. And then the 12th house is more on the spiritual level, like the collective soul. So this combination, when we talk about different types of conjunctions, sometimes conjunctions are rather neutral, where they don't really have a particularly positive or negative charge. They just kind of like exist. I can't give any examples offhand. Well, maybe like, if your sun is in conjunction with Mercury, it might make you more appear brainier. Well, is that positive or negative? Well, it just is. I mean, maybe it's has a little bit of a positivity to it. I don't know. But in this particular case, this conjunction to me can go either way. It could be challenging for some people, and it could be positive. I think that the reason it could be challenging is because Neptune can be about illusion. And it's all too easy when someone's emotions are, I was going to say riled up, that if they have this conjunction, they may tend to go into this default mode when they're emotionally charged, of kind of like a fantasy or a deluded state of being, where they are putting on those rose-colored glasses and having feelings for people who are not necessarily worthy of their love. I don't mean as human beings, but in that kind of intimate environment of your inner circle. So obviously we can love people and they are worthy of love in general. But when you form close relationships to people, to me, at least that's my opinion, they have to be people who are showing you that they have high regard for you, that they care for you. If you're with someone who puts you down, who says bad things to you, and even worse than that, that's somebody who's not in your corner. They're not, or maybe they have a lot of problems in their life, like addictions, and or they have, emotional problems. Maybe they can't keep a job, and so you're always left to clean up their messes if you are, romantic partners and you're living together. And you may feel like not only is that person not helpful in your life, but they just drag you down with their problems. Okay, so this combination could be very vulnerable to getting involved in relationships like that, just like Moon and Pisces people could do so. So imagine if you have this conjunction in the water element where you're already emotionally sensitive. Then you might really have a hard time being objective, because water tends to be very subjective, very personal in terms of their life experiences. This combination is natural for an empath. And the thing about empaths is that sometimes they attract narcissists or similar types of problem personalities who are attracted to the fact that these people will tolerate their bad behavior more times than not. And you do so sometimes because you can see beyond the bluster of some of these people that they are very damaged, they're very vulnerable. They might put on a tough act, but they really are very emotionally fragile. And as such, it's like when an animal is injured and you try to help it and you try to touch it and it bites you. That's kind of how certain people are, because they are so sensitive. I'm talking about other people. If you're involved with somebody who is a problem personality, it could be because they are very damaged, and they just they have a hard time showing any kind of weakness. To them, they would God knows what they'd rather do, but they don't want to come across that way. And so I'm basically talking about energy vampires here, and they can run the gamut. Some of them are more dangerous than others, but because you are very emotionally receptive, this can be somebody that you get involved with, but it could also be someone who you find yourself drawn to because you can sense their pain and you are a natural healer. Maybe that's another way of characterizing this too, is that you want to heal people. Well, that's a beautiful thing. But going into intimate relationships with people who are very broken, very troubled, is a lot different than trying to help them, for instance, if you're doing volunteer work or on your job or something like that, because you're with this person 24/7. So having that proper discernment of these kinds of things can save you from the kind of burnout and other negative consequences of dealing with energy vampires. Now, I want to give a shout out to astrology.com. I just went online to try to find something that I could use as talking points. And I don't even, come to think of it, I don't think this was a site that I really got a lot of this. What I have said to you right now, that was just me talking, but no, I think maybe it was. I can't find. Sometimes you look at something and then when you go back to it, you can't find what you were looking at. But basically, this is a very compassionate um, aspect. This is very creative. So, it, you could create fantasies about people, but you could create fantasies that could be used if you are a writer, for instance, or any other kind of art form where, even like a painter who sees things in a totally different way than kind of that realism. They did talk about professions that you might be drawn to, besides being artistic, but counseling they mentioned. And I would also add healing professions. I would say even um, nursing or certain types of health care professions where you can take care of others. I think this is a nurturing combination, but also with shamanic healing, especially I think if you have a conjunction between the moon and Neptune in Scorpio, because that is to me associated with shamanism. It's that like that's transformative type of thing. So, um, like I said, being caring is beautiful, but not at your own expense. So you have to be able to draw boundaries, create boundaries, and they have to be very clear, um, so that other people understand what they are. Neptune is not about clarity. Neptune is sometimes symbolized by fog, for instance. And this is because there's a dissolving effect with Neptune. So the dissolving effect is really helpful for merging with others so that you see that you are that other person and they are you, and there's not that separation that a lot of times that we experience in life. And that can be wonderful as well, but sometimes we are functioning in a different way and we need to set boundaries. So, in any case, I hope that this resonated with you. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.